Hi, welcome to the inner realm of the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. As I said at the end of this video, you may notice that you've got the opportunity down there to look at the other videos that we've released over the past 2 days, one of which is on rapid inductions, teaching you how to hypnotise people anytime, any place, anywhere, as quickly as that, even perhaps without even saying a word at all. And the other video down there is a video teaching you how to apparently read people's minds. Plus there's the link there to be able to get my book Confessions of a Hypnotist completely free of charge, which in there's the chapter on complete mind therapy, which is about how to help people change their lives. And that's what this hour of video that you're about to watch is all about, techniques you can use to help people. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Right, so welcome back now, giving me that horrible mental image, to the last session of today. Now, I'm not saying that after this session, you're fully equipped to go out and treat clients. The truth is you wouldn't fully be legally, because we haven't gone into the realms of your insurance. We haven't got into the realms of health and safety, risk assessments, and certain things that are legal requirements for any business, not just for therapists. But obviously there's unique distinctions relevant to doing this. But by the end of tomorrow, you will be. Okay? So, you know, sorry for those that maybe think, oh, fuck, there's people in the room who've not done anything before, and literally, on Monday morning, after a couple of phone calls, if you pay on over the phone with the credit card to the insurance company and get your insurance in place, alter the risk assessment example so it's relevant to you, but a few other things in place. There's no reason why within a week or a fortnight, based on the marketing initial plan that we covered earlier, why you can't be actually taking money off clients and really having kick-started your business. So, hopefully by this point we've bored them to sleep. Loads of people were saying outside then to me, oh, thank God for that, I was going to do that. Imagine, rather than that having been a short example of each bit, that would have been what actually does take up about half an hour of time killing in the real session. You can sort of comprehend why the majority of people do go to snore. But if they don't, you've just got to work that little bit hard. Unless you do what I'm going to tell you right at the end of today, which is really going to shock some people. However, this is called Confessions of a Hypnotist, and however, somebody, I won't mention names, I don't mean anyone in this room, but somebody I've no doubt will acquire somehow a copy of these DVDs and edit out the one sentence where I say what I say at the end of the day, and just put that one sentence up totally out of context on the internet so that it looks like I'm confessing to something that's totally out of context and therefore really, really bad, thinking that that's going to cause me to get investigated by the authorities and arrested for fraud or something. Well, bring it on, window cleaners. Some of you know what I mean by that. Anyway, because ultimately there's nothing legally wrong. If you provide the client with the result they require and are paid for, and they get that, you have provided the service you have advertised. How you get that is neither here nor there. Okay, so hopefully we've bored them to sleep by this point. Because arguably other approaches would say that what we've done there is combine several different induction methods with several different deepening techniques. So if you do believe in the power of verbal suggestion, hypnosis, then arguably one of them is going to work for the person to some greater or less degree. Or if not, they're going to be bored enough that they go to sleep, and if not, they're going to keep their eyes closed, because after all, you've told them to, and put it in a context where if they don't, it's all their fault. So you've covered all bases. So now we get to the so-called therapeutic section, which essentially And you'll see why in a minute I have to use these bullet points to remind myself of the order. Well, you will do, but you will realise at the end of the day. Because you'd think doing this regularly over the years, I'd be able to remember the order, wouldn't you? That would be a logical thing to think. But you'll see why that isn't the case before we finish for the day. Okay. So the order of, we've now, we wiped the name out on the blackboard. Off you go to sleep is the use of positive and negative verbal suggestions, or arguably pain and pleasure. The word substituted, which we've already talked about. So what do I mean by that? Well, in the context of smoking, a direct positive suggestion would be that they no longer need, won't crave or desire for cigarettes or tobacco in any way, shape or form. And it's not negative, it's from the pain you're going to generate in the head, but the outcome's positive for them. Example for smoking would be another. Should you ever try to smoke a cigarette yourself, you'll find that when you inhale on it, it tastes like donkey shit running down your throat. It's vital to the core. We've pretty much talked about that earlier. I don't think we need to dwell on it too much. Now you could argue that in that context we're also using an element of aversion therapy, because if the cigarettes are going to taste like shit, or the cream cakes are going to taste like bull spunk mixed with hairdressers, hair shavings that have been mixed together, and they'll see them in a cream cake that they're on. Pretty much going to conjure up an image that they don't want. You're all going to look at a cream cake at some point, and that is going to be head. So arguably there is an element of aversion therapy. If there is, if the person is still awake at this point. By awake, I mean arguably hypnotised, but not. Otherwise, we do what I'll say at the end of the day. Which arguably means you're also using pain and pleasure therapy. Whatever you call it, that's section 1. So that could be classed as classical, direct, authoritarian hypnotherapy. Okay, a bit more NLP, which at the end is only an anagram for nonsensically long pantomime, and at the end of the day is modelled, recopied and renamed and repackaged so we can make it to a course of stuff that's actually as old as the hills and actually dates back to mesmerism and beyond that. At this point we're going to use the TV set visualisation. And essentially what this television set visualisation is to get rid of the past, whatever it is. So if they're a smoker, logically they're going to get a visualisation, an image on that TV screen of themselves when they were a smoker. If they're, were eating too much of a certain food, there's a bit of common sense. The clues are in what they've told you. Okay, so I shouldn't really need to dwell on that thing. You can all look at the questionnaire and see the massive clues that are staring you in the face. So it's that which they came to you to change, as it once was in the past. And we're going to get them, now in NLP they talk about modalities, whether the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. I like to cover them all, as we said before. So, and you will see as we go along, how this covers everything we started the day off with. Unfortunately, some of it you may have to realise tomorrow if we run out of time. But the TV set, I would go something, and this is a very speeded up version for the example script to pad out the session to be long enough, goes into it in more depth, but it'd be something like, imagine it's almost as if, so it's up to them how to see it, almost as if you could see a television set in your mind's eye. And it's almost as if on that television screen, you can see an image of yourself, how you're smoking as the example, as you once were in the past. When when you realised that you were smoking way too much, and those thoughts ran through your head of, oh, I wish I could stop smoking, and Those thoughts ran through your head and you thought, I really want to stop smoking. And it's horrible, and you can smell the horrible smell, you can taste the horrible taste. It's almost as if you look at that image on the TV screen, you can taste, smell, see, feel and hear everything as 100% total reality. That one phrase, it's almost as if you can taste, smell, see, feel and hear everything as 100% total reality. Whichever their sensory representational system is, which is the bollocks title NLP gives it, they'll attach to the one that's right for them, in a way that's right for them. So you don't need to have found that out. You will be covering the right points. So, I'd like to imagine in your mind's eye walking towards that television screen. As you get closer to it, as you get closer to that image of how you once were in the past, it starts to feel uncomfortable. It starts to feel painful and horrible, and you feel a sense of disgusting yourself for not having made these changes sooner. And this will be classed as ramping up the pain in NLP. So there's more of a reason to make those changes right now. So see yourself in your mind's eye, but as you get closer to the television screen, you realise that you've made that intelligent decision here today to leave that behind in the past completely. So just imagine reaching forward and turning down the volume on the television set. And turn that volume down until the sound has gone completely. And as you turn the sound down, notice how much better that feels. And now imagine in your mind's eye reaching forward and turning down the brightness and the contrast. And as you do, the image just fades away, gone completely right now. And if there's any other knobs, dials, buttons or controls on that television set, I want you to take a few moments now just to imagine turning them all down so it can never bother you, worry you or concern you as it once did in the past. That's the mental visualisation up to there. The important point to note is that the TV set is about getting rid of the past. That they're getting rid of. That they wish to change. And in such a manner where we're covering all the sensory systems, because the metaphors there of the volume on the telly, the colour, the brightness, notice how good it feels. You've covered them all. Especially with the phrase, it's almost as if you taste, smell, see, feel and hear everything. I know it's the lazy man's way, but hey, it works. Now, what you need to notice is, that from that very moment, and in truth, I forgot to mention this earlier, from the very moment the client steps through your office door, even before you start doing your convinces and your induction and your deepening, you must phrase everything in such a manner that you are implying that they are already cured. So, not, oh, I notice your issue is you want to stop smoking. No. Oh, I noticed that you used to be a smoker. How many did you used to smoke? The implication is they don't anymore. Everything must be phrased as well. The moment they walk through that door, it doesn't exist anymore in the manner that it was before they came to the session. The change has already happened. You've got to act and believe that yourself, which is why I went into such depth about what is going on psychologically. 99% of the job is done genuinely before they walk in. So now you could waste weeks, months, maybe even years on some courses to learn structured language patterns and all this shit that NLP teaches. You could, or you could just remember the bullet points is that when you get, the moment they come through the door, they're cured. So as long as you phrase everything in such a manner that when you're referring to them when they were a smoker, you know, because up to the point of entering that door, they were a smoker. They walk in and it's, oh, I see you used to smoke. And they may correct you in their own heads and go, no, I do smoke, I've just had one outside. And you go, yeah, so you used to smoke. That's why you're here today, isn't it? And you sort of put them in their place. So the head goes, oh yeah, that's right, that's why I'm here. And it's always, that's why when they visualise it on the TV screen, that in itself is a dissociation from the past. Because they're being disconnected from it, it's just an image. We're not saying feel it like it was happening there, we're saying see an image of yourself as you once were in the past. As you used to be. Again, implying that they're no longer like that. Does this all make sense? And the mega easy way of learning this and remembering it is to actually listen to the example session that's on one of the discs that I'll be giving you. So you can, that'll jog your memory. Oh yeah, there we talk about it in a manner where it's past. So, it's about disassociation, that's one of the techniques that's being used here. It's about, if you like, you could argue in NLP reframing it, so we're thinking about it different. There's lots of wanky titles we could give it, with different approaches. The point is, they walk through the door, they're cured. So I've got to phrase it as though they are. Used to be, was in the past, no longer bothers you, worries you, concerns you, as it once did. Again, it's disassociation. And now we want to give them a sense of control. This is where the metaphor of the television comes in. And remember what we talked about this morning? When you give someone a sense of control, it helps to fill in the gaps that are imbalanced somewhere. In those areas of wanting to feel love, wanting it. So all of this is happening for a reason. So imagine turning the volume up, we're covering all the sensory systems, brightness, contrast. I ran out of ideas in my head then. You know, the channel changer, get it to one where it's fuzzy and then you can just throw in, and if there's any other, because you don't know what nature of television they're visualising in their head in a way that feels right for them. So just in case there's other knobs, controls and dials or whatever, or buttons on the TV, you need to throw that in. So if I don't want to ask them, that gives a chance of disturbing. And if at this moment there are any more knobs, dials, controls or buttons on that television set, just take a few moments for yourself to turn them off completely. Gone completely right now. Now in NLP, that phrase, gone completely right now, slight voice tone raised, would be, allegedly, because I've said it slightly louder than the rest of the sentence, the phrase, gone completely right now, would apparently be perceived by the brain as a separate sentence, and therefore it gets classed as an embedded command. And arguably, therefore, is a suggestion to them that the issue they once had is now gone completely. If you believe that that's the reason why all this works, if you want to believe that's the reason these things work, and it makes you feel better inside to think it works through some verbal techniques like that, rather than just an elaborate con, then so be it, believe them. Maybe it does, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, because I've never found out, because I do them all. So the law of averages says, whichever one's right, I'm already doing it, so whichever it is already in there, so you can't fail. Now, with that metaphor, because they're taking control and turning it all down, and it's now gone completely, the image is gone completely, we then state the obvious. So it seems logical, so therefore we're seeing truth. So it'd be something along the lines of, if that image is gone completely. However, the television set is still there, and we don't want anyone to come along and turn it back on. So imagine unplugging it from the wall completely, so it's got no more power going to it. There's a metaphor there in itself. It's got no more power. It's got no more control over you. I've structured this, that every so-called psychological technique on the planet that you'd use from learn from different approaches and trainings is in this session. So if they do work, well, they're in there. So whatever's right for that person is going to work. Yes, lazy man's approach, I know. And then I continue along the lines of, yeah, but you know, it's not got any power anymore, but we don't want anyone to ever be able to come along and plug that television back in. So in a way that feels right for you, and just in case they're not particularly a creative person, I give them a few suggestions, but I leave it up to them to make their mind. So they're in control. So that entire metaphor's through it. In a way that feels right for you, you may choose to destroy this television completely, so it's gone completely once and for all, by blowing it up. Some people imagine cutting it up with a chainsaw. Other people have told me in the past that they've, imagine dropping it out of a window so it smashes into smithereens. It really doesn't matter, it's just about whatever feels right for you. So just imagine now, on the count of three, when I click my fingers, on the count of three, when I click my fingers like that very moment, that very second, that very instant, I want you to take a moment of pride and pleasure and satisfaction in destroying that completely so it can never bother you as it once did in the past. See, all the phraseology is implying this is them totally taking control, totally getting rid, totally moving forward. It can never bother them again. If you believe in embedded commands, that's all in there.
Are they asleep now? Listen somewhere.
No, if they're asleep, I wouldn't be doing this. If they're snoring, we cut to the chase, what I'll tell you at the end. No, but let's, in the cases where they're not, this is what we would be doing, okay? So, at which point they've destroyed it in the mind's eye, we've now got rid of the past. So next is the magic rules, or rather magic roulette of, you may see how this possibly relates to this one. The next visualisation is good. And as you've destroyed that fantastically, it can't bother you, worry or concern you as it once did in the past, gone completely, notice how good that makes you feel inside, what a sense of achievement, and now in your mind's eyes that image fades away, one final time. It's almost as if, leave it open for that, it's almost as if it started to come into your mind in a way that feels right for you as an image of what may be described as like a measuring stick, a ruler. Some people have described it as a thermometer. But I'd like you to imagine it's almost as if there's a 0 at the bottom and 100 at the top. And at some point up this ruler, it's like the mercury in a thermometer that tells you how hot it is or how cool it is that day. And in very much the same way, at the moment this thermometer is a little bit faulty because this ruler represents your levels of willpower, self-confidence, self-esteem. What's that, self-confidence? Self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image and willpower. It's all about who you are, what you are, the way you feel. And unfortunately it's a bit faulty, because no one's taken the time to repair that until today. So I'd like you to imagine in your mind's eye, it's almost as if, wherever it's marked out at the moment, it's almost as if there is mercury inside that, and much like a thermometer, if you were to warm up the mercury, it will start to rise. So in your mind's eye, just imagine heating up the mercury in that measuring stick that's assigning a signal to you for your willpower, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, self-image, feeling good inside, because as you warm that up, some people use a lighter, some people imagine a little campfire, some people have told me they've imagined a blowtorch. Whatever feels right for you, just imagine heating up the mercury. And as you do, so it naturally rises up from 0 to 5%, from 5% to 10%, and as the mercury rises, so it's a sign and a signal to every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, that from this moment forward, you've got increased levels of willpower to achieve whatever you want to achieve. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about yourself, the way you look, the way you feel, the things you do, so fantastic inside. You've got all the confidence to move forward in your life, but it's 20%. The higher the number gets, the better you feel. 25, 30, heat that up in a way that feels right for you, so it goes through 40 and 50. Because in a few moments' time, I'm going to click my fingers like that. When I click my fingers like that, that very moment, that very second, that very instant, if it's not already got to 100%, then do whatever you need to. Turn the flame up more, do whatever it is you need to. But I click my fingers like that to make sure that that mercury goes to 100%. Right? Now, 1, 2, 3, and that's it, get it to 100%. Notice how good that feels inside, how fantastic that feels in every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, knowing that you've got all the willpower you ever need to achieve and stick to whatever you set your mind on in life, knowing that you feel fantastic about yourself, the way you feel, the way you think, the way other people see you. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Notice how good that feels, but realise right now, right this moment, right this very second, that we never want anyone to ever be able to come and let that drop below that. We don't want people to be able to say or do things that knock that down. So in a way that feels right for you. Other people in the past have told me they've used a staple gun. Some people have told me they've used a hammer and nails. Other people have told me they've used the world's strongest super. But when I click my fingers this time on the count of 3, I'd like you to imagine in your mind's eye that very moment, that very second, that very instant, locking, gluing, welding, cementing, bolting in a way that feels right for you. That mercury permanently, safely and securely at 100%, so that you know it can never drop below that level. And that's the metaphor and the visualisation of the magic ruler, so that it's covering all of them things in in a manner that therefore has a knock-on effect, it's covering all of them things. Sounds overly simple, but that's essentially arguably what occurs. So that's that metaphor of the magic ruler. Once you've got them to lock it, glue it, weld it, cement it, whatever feels right for them. So it's permanently, safely and securely. Permanently, safely and securely. Can never drop below that level. See how we're now framing it's the future, it's always going to remain this positive. So again, that's amplifying the idea it's been left behind. Everything, that's why it's structured this way. So next, we use the... We're going to use the magic mirror next. Now this is, NLP would class this as future pacing, or positive anchoring to future result, blah blah, whatever you want to call it. Magic mirror, we'll call it. So, we like the image of the magic ruler that's now permanently locked, calmly, safely, securely in place, fade away so it can never be tampered with, and now in a way that feels right for them. It's almost as if they can imagine a full-length mirror. Now this is a magic mirror, and it's a calm, safe and secure for them. Just in case they've got body morphic disorder or something we didn't want them. Calm, safe and secure. It's a magic mirror, almost like Alice in Wonderland, in a way that feels right for you. And I'd like you to look in this mirror. As you do, you realise it's almost as if you're seeing an image of yourself. And this image keeps kind of changing. It's as though 1 second you can see an image of yourself tomorrow, and then you can see an image of yourself in a week's time, then in a month's time, then in a year's time, then finally in 10 years' time. And the really fantastic thing about this magic mirror is, I'm still using the smoking example here, is that you look at that mirror, you see yourself tomorrow, thinking to yourself, that's fantastic, I'm so glad that, you know, I stopped smoking. I'm so glad that I continue to be a confident, happy, healthy, relaxed non-smoker. And then you see yourself in a week's time going, that is amazing, look how much better I feel, how much better I look, how much healthier and more energy I've got because I've continued being a confident, happy, healthy, relaxed non-smoker. And so it goes on, and the mirror keeps giving you images of the future, and you just feel more proud, more fantastic inside. And you can muffle this crap for a while. It's one of these feel-good visualisations, which arguably, if we get into the technicalities, if you want to argue, when you visualise nice things, pleasurable things, you do arguably release more serotonin and other chemicals in the brain, and therefore arguably the way this is structured, because that will then, we've done the nasty stuff previously, now we're going to do the good stuff that's going to ramp up the feel-good chemicals. You could argue they genuinely physically will feel some kind of difference at the end of the session because we've structured it in such a way that the chemical release that makes them feel that happens later on in the session. But you don't need to know the brain science behind it, not unless you want to do a pointless psychology degree. Right, so back to the plot. Magic mirror. So you waffle that stuff. And now imagine it's almost there in your mind's eye. You walk towards that mirror, the image of the new you, the person you have now become, implying they have become that you have become and continue to be from this moment forward. And as you walk towards the mirror, it's almost as if you get flooded in every fibre and muscle in your body and tissue with positivity and a sense of achievement, a warm glow of confidence and optimism inside. And as you reach towards that mirror, it's almost as if you can feel your fingers melting into the mirror, melting into the image of the new you. And it feels so fantastic that you want to, in fact, allow yourself to walk forward and make that change permanently now. As you walk forward, it's almost as if you step into that mirror. And notice how fantastic that feels inside. In fact, it's almost as if you're climbing into a suit of armour, protective armour. It's almost as if you're putting this suit on that protects you positively, permanently and safely in a way that feels right for you, so you can continue to be the confident, happy, healthy, relaxed non-smoker that you have become from this moment forward, feeling so good inside. So we've got them to magic mirrors. You're following the logic behind this by now, I'm hoping, based on what we talked about during the day. However, we need to finish off that section, but we never want anyone to ever be able to come along and pull us out of that mirror. No, of course we don't. So in a way that feels right for you, just imagine. Some people have told me they've imagined painting the inside black so nobody can see in and don't know you're there. Other people have said they've taped it up with the world economy tape. Other people have said they've welded metal behind. I don't know, it doesn't matter, whatever feels right for you, but on the count of 3, when I click my fingers like that very moment, that very second, that very instant, the very moment I click my fingers, I'd like you to imagine, in a safe, calm, secure manner, locking yourself permanently, safely and securely inside your new reality right now. 1, 2, 3. Notice how good that feels. That's fantastic. And knowing that you're locked permanently, positively and safely into that new reality, just let that image fade away, knowing that nobody can ever change it. And you're like, so that's what they class as future tense. Okay? And arguably, in their own head, it's a suggestion because, you know, if they came to lose weight, they're going to be seeing an image of themselves having lost the weight. If they came once scared of spiders on the telly, they're going to get rid of that image of being scared. Here, they're going to see themselves not being scared. So even if we didn't know what their problem was, which we do off the questionnaire, and we can add little bits in, but I'm leaving how to add the little bits in till tomorrow, because that just like adds the icing, okay? First of all, you need to understand why I've structured it in this order. We wouldn't even need to know, we could do it content free. Meaning that they wouldn't have to tell us what the issue is because it's phrased in such a manner they can fill in the blanks, and the way they will fill in the blanks is such that it will still do the treatment that's required. Okay? So, if they're still awake, i.e. not snoring, or what have you, at this point, we would do a repeat of the start, and by that I mean direct suggestions, so suddenly throw in, and if you let that magic mirror fade away, just notice how fantastic it feels to know within you that you no longer need one crave or desire for cigarettes or tobacco as you once did in the past. And what a feeling of satisfaction it gives you to know that if you were ever to try a cigarette for any moment of weakness, that it would taste like donkey shit running down. All this stuff can be repeated again. Purely because it's repetition and purely because it kills some time, to be honest. And if you're using the questionnaire, as we'll mention tomorrow, you can add in the pain and pleasure. Because this is the bit where you could really ramp up the pain. The smoking, the example there would be, I'd leave it till this bit, and it says it on the running order, here's where you put the guilt trip on. So, you could at that moment throw in, but we're not saying if, we've got a phrase, not so it's like you're saying, you know, if you were to smoke, this is going to happen. Because then that's implying that it's possible to smoke. And that would undo everything we've set up along the lines of when they walked in, they were cured, and they've left it behind and they move forward. We've got to phrase it so that they interpret it in a manner that gets that result, but without giving them the option of thinking it's possible. So, e.g., best way is for me to give you an example, which is, I might get them to know. Notice how good it feels inside to realise right now that that day will never come when you have to sit down with your son and tell him you've only got a few months to live. Notice how good that makes you feel to know that day will never come because you made that intelligent decision, that promise to yourself. We have effectively said, you're a cunt if you don't, you know, stick to this. But we've done it in a manner where it's not offensive, and we've done it in a manner that doesn't undo all the good work we've put into place up to there. It just ramps up the effectiveness of all of that even more and gives them something painful to avoid so they can move towards the pleasure of the good feelings, which means you've rewired the pain and pleasure diagram that we talked about this morning. And when that's wired up the opposite way, logically it's got to have the opposite result, because that's how it works. Right. At this point, we then give them their magic gift, their ring of confidence. Now this is going to sound ever so slightly, almost as if I am contradicting myself. If it's going to sound at first sight, or first hearing, as well, we're now going to say something to them that could imply it may not fully work. We're not, it's very subtle. And what we're going to do is we're going to say to them, look, and now as you relax more, just imagine in your mind's eye, in fact, in reality, do this, and if they're awake, tell them. Imagine taking your fingertip and your thumb of your right hand, or if the left hand, whichever, and pressing your fingertip and your thumb together. And when you do, it's almost as if that very moment, that very second, that very instant, all those fantastic feelings of that time in your life, when you pass the exam, in fact, you can use your questionnaire, which I'll go into more tomorrow, you can ramp it up with, it's almost like you felt as fantastic as when you go to your son, John, in 1982, and use it, make it as detailed and emotional and personal to them as possible. So the anchoring, this is called, conditioning, classical conditioning, actually, NLP and call it anchoring. It's actually classical conditioning, Pavlov, but hey, that's a different story. And remember, it works. Pressing the fingertip and thumb together, and notice how good that feels. And imagine now, it's almost as if every time you should need to. And we're not going to say if they feel like having a fag. The implications, they're just a tiny bit, but we're not going to say that because we don't want them to undo the good work. But we do want them, if they encounter a situation at any time in the future where they think, maybe I do want a fag, shall I try that? We do want them to then think to themselves, no, I'll use my ring of confidence. So, we put it in by going, it's almost as if when you press your fingertip and your thumb together, you get all those feelings flooding your body, it feels fantastic, blah, 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 blah. So that, if at any time in life, for any reason, so by using that vagueness, or as NLP call it, ambiguity, right? By leaving it up to at any time, for any reason in life, that way we're not saying to them, should you have a craving for a fag, but they can choose to accept it at the second if that should occur, which will remind them to do it. You can just press your fingertip and your thumb together. And when you do, it's almost as if your mind and body will be flooded with all those fantastic feelings like that time in your life when blah, 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 blah. And it's almost as if when you press your fingertip and thumb together, it's almost as if immediately that 100% level of your magic ruler is amplified for a few moments by 100%. So that you just feel fantastic and can continue, this is where the suggestion comes in, and can continue achieving all those wonderful things in your life that you have already begun to achieve. So by phrasing it in a certain manner, we've got them their crutch, if you like, that they can arguably become a bit dependent on, and for as long as they need a mind distraction, it can be there, especially smokers, something to do with fingers. But tomorrow I'll cover little things you can add in if you choose to. It'll make sense tomorrow. If you choose to, and if we're awake, pointless if we're asleep. So we put the ring of confidence in. Then, cool, we're nearly there. Ring of confidence. We then give them the major post-hypnotic suggestion, or at least we would be doing if they were hypnotised. But as it doesn't exist, we're just going to waffle some shite and give them some instructions on what to do, when to do it, and why to do it. And that major post-hypnotic suggestion is, in a few moments' time, when I awaken you, and you'll know when, but when I bring you back to full alertness, full awareness, in a way that feels right for you, you'll find that I give you an audio compact disc. And when I give you that audio compact disc, you'll have an overwhelming desire, an overwhelming urge to listen to it once every other day for the next 28 days. And it's almost as if each and every time you listen to that audio CD, that it's just as effective, if not even more effective, than me being in the room with you. Because each and every time you listen to that audio CD, it just continues to become easier and easier to remain the XYZ, fill in the blank, whatever the issue is. But to remain, to continue, you see it's all phrased, that it's definitely going to carry on and has happened, everything's structured for a certain reason. And you'll have an overwhelming desire to listen to that. So that's the major post-hypnotic suggestion, essentially. And then we are going to, if you believe they've been hypnotised, awaken them from trance. If you believe there's such a thing as trance. And that will go something along the lines of, now obviously there's audio examples and written scripts on the disc, but I'll cover that more tomorrow. But something along the lines of, as you relax more with every breath you take, that's fantastic. Because I'm going to count in a few moments' time from 1 to 10. Now on the count of 10, and only on the count of 10, then only then you can open your eyes in a way that feels right for you and come back to full alertness. Realising on the count of 1 that everything I've said to you and everything that you have done today can remain with you, and will remain with you, growing stronger each second of each minute of each hour, day, week, month and year from this moment forward. You believe in suggestion, that means it's constantly getting compounded. On to, it's almost as if in your everyday life, with every breath that you take, every noise that you hear, every word you should speak or every thought that you think, it's almost as if they just serve as a sign and a signal to remind you of how fantastically you are continuing to achieve your wonderful X, Y, Z. Do you get the idea? On 3, you realise that just as you can trust your subconscious mind to circulate the blood around your body without any conscious effort, and just as you can trust your subconscious mind to make sure your heart works correctly, pumps the blood around your body and keeps you alive, so you can trust your subconscious mind to ensure that you do keep this promise to yourself. Because on 4, you realise that today you made a promise to yourself to continue, not become, to continue being X, Y, Z. And from this moment forward, your subconscious mind will always ensure as an automatic reflex action in a way that feels right for you. That this continues to grow stronger with each second, with each minute, of each hour, week, month and year. 5. Almost as if all the stresses, tensions, worries, fears and apprehensions of days, weeks, months and years gone by, leaving your mind and leaving your body right now. 6, 7, lighter and brighter. 8, it's almost as if every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, has been washed with pure spring water, revitalising, re-energising. On 9, it's almost as if somebody has flick the factory reset button inside your mind so that you're at perfect factory settings to continue with your fantastic new lifestyle. And on 10, whenever you feel it's ready, you can just open your eyes. And hopefully at that point, actually you'll just be saying that bit at the end because you'll have done what I'm about to tell you, and you'll have to just wake them up because they've been snoring, in which case you won't have done most of this. But it doesn't matter because the audio CD you will give them, and just in case they were snoring, you'll say to them, well, fantastic. Can I just ask you a question? The question I've got to ask you is, without looking at your watch, without looking at the clock, and you make sure the clock's positioned behind them so they can't see it, without looking at the clock and without looking at your watch, how long would you say that it feels like you've been sat there with your eyes closed? At this point, I do not use the word hypnotised, because if they don't feel hypnotised, and it was a way that felt right for them, at least it's true that they were sat there with their eyes closed. There was no resistance to come back. And it doesn't matter what they say. The chances of them getting it on the head are next to impossible. And if they do, guess what you do? You lie. You can actually know it was longer than that, or it was short. You blatantly lie. Generally speaking, they will say it was longer than it was or it was short. If not, you lie. It doesn't have to be like by any huge amount of time. But you always react as if that is the answer you were looking for. So therefore, that's, oh brilliant. That tells me, stage 1, not anymore. So stage 2, if they've been snoring, this is particularly important to say when you bring them round because you've not said we shall see any of the other. So you'll this is the CD. You may not remember me mentioning it. No, you're not going to do because you're asleep. But let's assume they were hypnotised or whatever, they will remember it. You may not remember it being mentioned, but that's the CD you need to listen to once every other day for the next 28 days. The responsibility and commitment are now on them. Pretty much any habit, addiction, blah, 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 especially habits, tend to take the 28-day lunar cycle to become fully ingrained in the mind. Again, that's not particularly useful knowledge unless you want to pass a pointless psychology degree. Although it's suffice to say experiments have been done that tend to indicate that is true. And it's our natural body clock. Hence, if you take a load of women, put them in a woman's prison, and they're all subjected to the same lighting, the same routine. After a very short period of time, they all menstruate at the same time. It's getting that natural system. Again, not particularly useful to know, other than because it is the way we are programmed genetically. Using the 28 days is a good time frame to give them a commitment to continue being focused on this change, to have the mind distraction, to, if you believe in suggestion, to be being brainwashed more. Okay? And also it ensures they're not going to ring you for 28 days. Well, we'll cover that tomorrow in case they should do. So that's the order of it in terms of they become hypnotised or you believe they are awake. You've then got to give them the audio CD, obviously. Now, there is a word for word, and this is going to sound very arrogant and big-headed, but there is a word for word script that I defy anyone to improve upon on the discs that I will give you. Every single sentence, word, everything about it is written in such a manner that it's constantly leaving the past behind, bringing the future. It is perfection. I know I'm saying that as the person who wrote it, but it's taken years to get to that level. It does the job for you. So if the session hasn't gone perfectly, the CD will do the work. Now, by all means, after this session, this seminar, you may use the audio recording with me. And all you've got to do is, at the major Post-Hypnotic Suggestion section, say, when I give you the audio CD, you will hear my colleague. And it will be just as effective as if you were in the room with me, therefore removing the objection. That will work. However, I would suggest it's even more effective to sit down and record your own, using the script that's provided. Now, this script is grammatically, in terms of reading something normally, the worst grammar you've ever seen, because it's got a key on it. And that is 1 comma equals pause of so many seconds, 2 means that, and it's literally telling you when to pause. It's telling you when you need to sound ridiculous, and when you need to be upbeat. But to make life even easier for you, okay, there's my audio recording on there, so you can actually sit there and listen to it, but don't close your eyes, otherwise you're not going to get any benefit. Whilst you read the script, and that, whether you're a visual or auditory learner, will be embedding it into your head, so you actually naturally learn to use the correct language patterns that leave the past behind and instill the future. You could do that. And then you could use that script once you've got a familiarity with that, but that'll be even easier after the morning when I teach you some more verbal psychology, to record your own. And there is actually software on the disc that I will give you for audio recording to do that, together with the sound effects. What I suppose I'm trying to say to you is that by the end of tomorrow, when I have taught you a few other techniques, i.e. the ones that are relevant for radio and TV shows, where you haven't got the an hour and 15 minutes to waste, and in fact they want it done there and then, once you know them, and you also then know how to get clients, and you know what to do in a very rare event that somebody says it hasn't worked, so you can overcome that obstacle if it should ever occur, then, yeah, you'll pretty much, as ridiculous it may sound, be able to go out there and get better results than the majority of currently working therapists. Again, it's sad that I can say that. It is quite sad because it's just a reflection on how little most of them know, or their lack of understanding, or their lack of confidence in themselves, or how shit their advertising is, which does 99% of the job, and I hope you realise that. So I leave you with this final confession today, because this seminar is called Confession of the Hypnotist, and I hope, I really, truly, sincerely, and genuinely hope that you realise I am telling you the fucking truth. Because basically I'm borderline admitting to things that are very on the edge in terms of legalities. But you know, as long as the job gets done, what's it matter? So, the final confession of today is when I do occasionally choose to see a client face to face, I suppose it's just an enhancement, a lazier version of how I started out years ago, where, you know, close your eyes, keep them closed, out came the script, read it, back away it went, open your eyes. Well, I recorded this audio CD. Now, to make life easy, I phrased it so it could be used content-free, because obviously I didn't want to have to record the backup disc for smokers, one disc, and all I need to do to that disc is write on the label smoking cessation if it's a smoking client, so they think I've got the smoking disc, or you know, if it's someone who wants to play better golf, but on improved golf, so that whatever it says on the label, that's not, they think I've got the right one. It's not, they're all bloody same. And trust me, I've had people buy off my website, 3 CDs at once, one for smoking, one for weight, one for confidence, but they're all fucking the same, and no one's ever asked for a refund. Obviously not, because the website does say that they contain impossible to hear subliminals within them as well. I'm not going to say they don't, because I'm supplying you with the software. I do supply you with the software to actually put subliminals in relevant to their issue. Well, fucking hell, how many different master copies would you have? Take your fucking hours. They'll assume it is what it is from the label. What I now do is I get them in, fantastic, I do the convincer bit, that's, they've kind of got to see you properly, because you get the involvement with that. When we get to the bit where their eyes are closed, I say, now as the music begins. Now what I've done is I've sat down and very cleverly listened to my own CD with the aid of my own script that I'd written, and I'm waiting for this point here where it said, and now close your eyes. I want it to come in after that, so it could be me talking. And I find how many seconds in it is that I can set it on my computer to start at that point. So I can say in a few moments' time, when the music begins, you'll hear my voice with the music. Sometimes it'll be loud, sometimes it'll be quiet, but it will be fantastic. The music's going to begin now. Press the button. And because at that wonderful point on the disc, there's a few seconds where there's just music, and then it goes into the recording of my voice over the music, doing the fantastic non-specific treatment script that's worded so they can fill in all the blanks, using all of that in the right order. As far as they know, I spend the next 53 minutes talking to them whilst I'm on Facebook. Or stuff. Now, I do occasionally. No, but we need, it's ethical this, because you need to create a magical experience. And the thing is, occasionally, while they're hearing out the speakers the music, and slightly strangely, your voice, well, they've seen the mic on the desk, so there's no reason, it's confusion, disorientation. Occasionally, I'll just say something loud enough so it can be heard, at the same time as they think they're hearing me speak over there, and I'll just casually go, yeah, I no longer need one crave a desire for cigarettes and tobacco in any way, for shape or form. Well, that's going on, and it's totally like grateful. What the hell's going on? Which therefore gives them an even more strange magical experience, so arguably makes it even more effective for them. And they may go to sleep or they may not, but it doesn't matter, in which case at the end, when that CD gets to the bit where it says on 10, wide awake, well that's fine, the moment they open their eyes, there's another 5 minutes or so of the music without my voice on. So it's exactly what they would experience if I'd taken the time to bloody talk shite for the last 15 minutes. And you know the CD they're going to get when they go away? It will be just as effective, because it's the fucking CD they've been listening to.
But you're not the only one who does that.
No. I'm not going to mention names, but I imagine a large number of people that may have been trained by. Not all of them, obviously not. Doesn't mean to say that the person does complete mind therapy that they do that. No, it doesn't. But I do know for a fact some do. And they get fantastic results, video testimonials from the clients. Because it works, because it's all a fucking big, and that's the end note for today, because tomorrow we'll take up from where we've ended. It's nothing more than a placebo effect. It's nothing more than creating an environment a situation, a framework where it is painful for the person to remain, they will feel a shitty shame, shithead, guilty idiot to remain as they are, but there will be such a feeling of fantastic pride, achievement, wonderful like I won the lottery, to change, and you do it in a framework where they're not to blame, which is human nature, and everything else is in there we've talked about, and you can't fail. The only thing that can fuck it up is if you do it in a manner where you miss out elements that make it work, which obviously you won't, because you're all really intelligent. So that's going to draw today to an end. When we leave here, tomorrow, don't worry, tomorrow we'll get your DVDs and all that, but tomorrow we've got loads of other cool stuff to cover, i.e. what to do on TV and radio shows. And also the verbal and physical psychology that can arguably, if you believe in that stuff, enhance this. Although if you use the session the way it's structured, they're going to fall asleep, the majority of them, so why would you bother? And yeah, I suppose the only other thing I would say for now is that from here, I will probably be going to the shithole that's called the King George. Well, it's not shithole, it's actually one that's alright. To have a couple of beverages. If people would like to join me, you're more than welcome. Because I'm not one of these people who runs off and goes, oh, you're not talking to me. Now, you won't get that at a Paul McKenna seminar, would you? Well, allegedly, from what I'm told. So I hope it's starting to make sense. For those people that unfortunately couldn't get here first thing this morning, I don't mind briefly recapping that after up the road, but I will make sure you get a copy of the DVDs. It is also all covered on the DVDs that I'll be giving you. So one way or the other, you will get that gap filled in. And tomorrow, it makes even more sense, because my aim is the bad end of tomorrow. You will feel confident enough to move forward and make a successful business, where in a slightly unconventional manner, some may argue, but with positive intent, that will lead to the person getting the result they want, the result that's been advertised, the result they paid for, enable you to provide that, so that you feel good about providing that, and feel even better about them. I've been Jonathan Rowe, thank you for listening, and I'll see you all at the pub on the morning. Well, welcome back. I truly hope you enjoyed that. As I said earlier, you know, there is bits missing from that to make it into a proper session. But I want to give you all the other footage from that event so you understand it fully. I also want to give you free of charge, you know, hours and hours of other video training from other seminars. In fact, I want to give you $5,000, okay, a complete business in a box. I want to give you all the secrets you ever need of mind control, hypnosis, NLP, whether you want to use it for therapy stage, entertainment, seduction, or just for improving your life. I want to give you that free. In fact, I want to give 3 of you that free. $5,000 worth of stuff. So we're going to run a competition. All you need to do is put a comment in the box underneath this video, okay, saying what you thought about it, how you feel you could benefit from gaining this $5,000 worth of free training, how it could improve your life or your stage or your therapeutic hypnosis career or your mentalism skills. What would you do? Why should you be one of those 3 people, one of the 3 lucky ones? Leave those details and then keep an eye on your inbox, because tomorrow I'm going to be sending you a link to a video that's going to reveal quite literally a step-by-step plan showing you how to make quite easily at least $2,000 a week from hypnotherapy. I'll see you tomorrow.